Okay, good day everybody. Got a little bit of a brass cleaning video for you today. Some stuff I learned over the course of about a year. Anyway, all the brass that's in this container and this lid was in one batch, in one drum, one of the small little rock tumbler drums, with some hot water, dish soap, stainless pins, and a big glob of Lemishine. I used to use like a 45 case full. And originally I would tumble my brass for 6 to 8 hours with a large quantity of Lemishine. And it never ever caused a problem. The only thing it did do is that it made the brass a lot lighter in color than it should look. You know, like it should look kind of like this. However, all it did was it made it a lot lighter. But in this particular batch, I did add one aluminum case. It's hard to see, but it kind of looks like rough machining marks on it now. It's nice and clean, but it's all kind of pitted. Not really pitted, but it's not reloadable anymore. And I also added one steel 762 by 25, I think. And you can see that the pins, wherever the pins contacted the case, it took the lacquer right off, and you know, the back's all, you know, kind of gone pink, you know, as well, even though this is a steel case. It's a Berdan primed case, but in the rim groove, the lacquer still remains. Anyway, originally I kind of thought I would set this aside, and I put a note in with it saying that I tumbled it with the aluminum case, and I thought it was a chemical reaction between the Lemishine and the aluminum which did this. I'm not really sure if it was a chemical reaction that did the damage, you know, to the aluminum. It looks more like mechanical damage from the pins. However, the other thing I learned in that same batch was sort your brass out so it doesn't you know, get stuck together, and it seems like 45 autos are the really big culprit, or you'll end up with weird looking brass that's not cleaned. Here's one that got stuck inside, you know, a 45, and it never really cleaned that part of the brass. And then of course all these 30 cal rifle brass had 45 ACPs, you know, stuck to them, and that's what they kind of turn out like. So there's another example there. This one, not a bit. Anyway, this was separate, unrelated to that. But this was one batch that I tumbled, and that's kind of what I learned from that. Now, I got to cleaning some brass just the other day to catch up on my, you know, what I've been collecting off the ground, and I had this little bag, you know, with all these little, you know, selection of brass for the collection. So I mean, it's not like I lose a whole batch of brass out of this, but you know, like here's a couple 762 by 39s that were, you know, damaged. Maybe I could send them to Dummy Round and he could fix them for me. Just kidding. Anyway, they were destined for the collection, and some banged up 3030s, 243, another 3030, 303, 3030, oddball stuff. Normal 9mm, no big deal with this. Brass, you know, was all probably different head stamps or something like that. 40 Smith & Wesson, which was just going to get added to the stash. Now one thing I noticed, okay, here's the ones I kind of sucks that I ruined them. 22 Hornet, a 30 M1, a 222 Magnum, and looks like a 357, which they're still going to go in the collection. But now this batch, because it was so small, I reached into my other bag and I grabbed a big handful of 223 brass to throw in with it and tumble this all together. Now this only tumbled for 2 hours or less, with much less Lemishine than you could fit into a 9mm. You know, probably we're talking like a 25 auto or a 380 case of Lemishine, along with the dish soap and the hot water and the pins. And anyway, because I had this bag set aside for so long and I'd been collecting range brass to add to the collection, I did actually have 2 steel cases in the bag, which I didn't notice when I dumped it in the tumbler to run it. So you can see on this 223 a little bit of the lacquer left here down near the base, but all the lacquer on the outside is all gone now. The primer's gone completely pink, and this one, steel 9mm, same thing, the lacquer's all gone. In fact, it's even kind of gone from the rim, even though this only tumbled for 2 hours or less, with much less Lemishine, along with all this brass added. And these ones I found kind of unusual just looking at them, because they're all regular brass cases. Looks like there's 2 40s and 2 9s, but they have what looks like a kind of a tinned interior. You know, it looked steel, so I thought, well, I'll check these, but they're brass for sure. So there was no aluminum in this batch, and it tumbled for a lot less time with a lot less Lemishine. And I have a feeling now that it's steel that's the culprit of what reacts with the Lemishine and turns it pink. So you got to make sure you sort your brass, make sure it's all just brass, make sure it's all compatible sizes. If you want to tumble steel, then, you know, get a batch of just steel together, or you're gonna, you know, this is probably still shootable. However, the 223 is of minimal value, so it's just going to get set aside. And these ones were destined to go in the collection anyway. Anyway, I guess that's, you know, 2 catastrophic brass cleaning lessons learned over the course of a year. So keep your lead out of your zinc, and keep your zinc out of your lead, and keep your steel out of your brass, and your brass out of your steel. Another reason to just sort it all out. Have a great day, everybody.